My Inner Knowing, empowering you to find your compass for the journey. We are dedicated to supporting you to rediscover and trust your natural ability to navigate life each day by sharing insight and experience through the lens of two professional communicators and their guests. We intend to prompt internal inquiry that supports all those willing to explore a unique path. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, life is really complex and complicated. And I feel like our goal is to really build resilience in our body so we can just keep moving and not get stuck. Teaching our body that we are going to get to the other side. That the work that we're choosing to do will bring more freedom. Not control, not more control, more freedom. Yeah. So, what are you thinking?
That sometimes I feel like I've got plenty of resilience.
Yeah.
Plenty of practice of being resilient. But then I turn back to what I've talked about before, which is the learning and the knowing that it's teaching me and it's advancing my growth as a spiritual being and a human being.
Yeah.
All of the above.
Yeah.
I have to put it in that context, or sometimes I can get down. So it's a good place to remind.
Yeah.
And it's good to get out of it gets a little victim-y, as we say. Must I have more? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think God or the universe or whatever responds better when, we can try to incline our mind to gratitude for what we do have, gratitude for the good things that have happened, and inquiry about what is this teaching me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we were going to talk today about worthiness, which I think is related to all that. I think.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think about how, there's a lot of things that we can do in practice that are an important part of our growth. And at the same time, if we aren't working on that we are inherently worthy, it's difficult for those practices to integrate if we don't really believe that we're worthy of them. Whether it's taking care of ourselves or setting boundaries or choosing healthy relationship or parenting or work. I mean, I just think, we can build a lot of skills, and I think practicing those are really important. And I believe the integration piece comes with us truly believing that we're worthy of them.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
You've been a therapist for 20 years almost?
Let's see. I started my internship, 20 years ago.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yes. So I would have sat with my first client 20 years ago.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Can you recall a client that you've come across that reached a point where they always felt worthy?
Oh, I don't think so.
Or another human being?
No.
Okay. So when we're talking about worthiness and getting to that point where we really believe it, how is it that we might not believe it all the time?
Yeah, it's such a great question, babe. I think, whew, that's a really complex question. For me, some of the struggle will come up if I'm tired, if I don't feel well, if what's being challenged in me is connected to one of my inherent values. I think there's, things that will rock me, and I have to process internally and externally and remember who I am and get clear on who I am. But that in between time, I forget who I am. But I think I'm always asking myself, who am I? How do I want to walk in the world? How do I walk in the world? How do people observe me walking in the world? And that's not all positive. There are people who think I am not a nice or kind person. So I have to keep coming back to myself. I get the feedback from others that I believe will be honest with me. Yeah. Who I know will be honest with me. What did Chris say to me Friday night? He said, I asked him what he was thinking about a certain situation, and he said, I don't think you want to know what I'm thinking. And I said, I do want to know what you're thinking. That doesn't mean I want to hear what you're thinking. And then he shared anyway. And I appreciate that level of honesty, even if it's hard to hear. It wasn't surprising what he said, but I'm glad he said it. I think the worthiness piece also comes with practice. I think about the statement, like, you need 5 positive things to 1 negative thing. And what?
I sorry, I don't like sayings like that, because it creates a box that, and sometimes an insurmountable obstacle, right?
Sure.
Well, I haven't gotten the 5th positive thing, so it's just going to be that way. I mean, just but
Right.
anyway, sorry.
Right.
Trigger.
Yeah. No, and I don't mean it as a box. I really mean it from a physiological perspective. To me, our brains are fascinating. You know that. I think that. And the reality is that in certain states of being, when certain brain waves are more activated, we are more suggestible. And so if we aren't challenging the negative ourselves, I'm not talking about other people. If we aren't actively challenging the negative, if we're not taking in that information in some way, whether it's through ourself or a guided meditation or being in relationship with people who really can see us and value us and be honest with us, and compassionate and loving, all the things, where does the balance come from? How does our brain and our body know what's true about us if it's not being challenged, whether it's our own thoughts or from an outside place.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what I mean by that statement
Mm-hmm.
is, are we actively working on that?
Right.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. What are you thinking as I say that?
My experience is that we work on worthiness in categories,
Okay.
maybe in intimate relationships,
Mm.
and it may be in being worthy to earn money,
Mm.
or to be abundant.
Mm-hmm.
It may be worthy with parents. It may be worthy enough that I can make mistakes as a parent myself, and still be valued by my child.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other thing that occurred to me is also that you got to work out the worthiness muscle.
Yeah. What are you
Right.
thinking when you say that?
That, well, there's different methods to do it. One of the ones that I like, there's this, and I've shared it with you. There's somebody that posts, thank you, universe.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love to turn that on when I'm, getting ready in the morning, or if
Yeah.
I'm driving a long distance, if there's not some other book that I want to listen to, I'll turn, or I'm feeling like I need to flex the worthiness muscle, or just have some, sometimes it's just like a hug. Hey,
Yeah.
it's okay. The universe loves you. And I can't remember the title, otherwise I'd share it, and we can put it in the comments because I think it's great stuff. And I like the guy's voice. I think he's Australian or something like that. But anyway, just all these different just sayings for 15, 20 minutes that remind, but I still think what I believe is we're creatures of habit.
We are.
And we can fall back into old patterns.
Yes.
Regardless of all the work that we've done. And
right.
the point, I think, is that the more you come up with tools to continue to remind yourself how worthy you are in so many different ways, the less time that you'll spend down in that old pattern. And you'll spot yourself doing it. Oh, that's not who I want to be. It's not how I want to experience the world. There's emotion coming up for me around this too. It's fascinating. But it's just that part of life where we'll go back to that and it feels familiar. And so you kind of just sleepwalk your way back in, right? It's like, oh, wait, I don't do that anymore. I'm worth more than that.
Yeah.
And pull yourself back up. So if you're exercising the worthiness muscle, or however you want to put it, there's lots of nice ways to say it that are comforting even, I think it's necessary, and I think it's just part of our existence that it's going to continue to happen, but less and less.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but along those lines, I wanted to ask you, because you've introduced me to this this stuff in the first place, and you've got a favorite song.
I do.
And I was hoping you'd share it with us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
if you tell us about it, yeah.
Yeah. So about 8 years ago, I was working with a family who had lost a child tragically. And they had asked me to facilitate like a gathering on the first anniversary of their death with friends and family. And I was trying to find music. It's going to be outdoors. And I was making it more like ritual, based, really signifying, the power of the gathering in memory. And I can't even tell you how I came across this song. Not at all an artist that I had ever heard of, let alone the song. And what I remember listening to it the first time was that this should be the song that we listen to every night before we go to bed,
Mm.
no matter how old we are, from the time we're born until we take our last breath.
Mm.
I believe this is a song that we would all benefit. It would be life changing if this song was a song we listened to every day. Because life is complex and it's complicated. And we need reminders. We all need reminders, no matter how much work we have done to keep going, even when we are afraid, and that we are loved and that we are worthy. So I'll read the lyrics out loud. I will have to look at them, so I'm going to turn this way. And the song is called In Dreams by Jai Jagdish. And how I think of it is know you are loved. That's what I call it. So, know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Beloved child, my heart is yours. Beloved child, go out and open doors with your love, with your faith, with your compassion, with your grace. Oh, with your grace. Beloved child, you are the light of the world. Beloved child, go out and spread light to the world. Be strong, be kind, be brave. Know you're mine. Know that you're divine. Know that it's all right to be afraid. Know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. What do you think it would have been like for you, having heard that song every night?
I think it would have given a lot of comfort and power, but comfort in a lot of suffering that I had,
Yeah.
Bedtime was usually a sad time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so having a song like that would have been like being held by a mother that loved me and taught those truths
Yeah.
about us as souls.
Yeah.
So, what's the experience like for you when you listen to that?
It makes me think of the lullaby that I made up for my kids 23 years ago. Which was similar. Different, but similar. Really in encouraging them to follow their path. To know their heart. To dream. And for me, the creation of the song came from pain. Sitting in the living room, I can still see it so clearly. My back was to the fireplace and I was sitting like cross-legged on the floor. And one of my sons was sitting next to me and like leaning on me. And the other one was trying to fall asleep in my lap. And I was trying to find, really, as I sit here and I think about it, my own value. I was trying to remind myself to live my own life and not a path of shoulds and supposed tos. And it was something that I really wanted them to know. And so it's a song that I don't sing much anymore. As my kids are mostly grown and out of the house. But I believe it was life-changing for me. What do you?
It's just sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking about grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
That you'll probably sing it, but my guess is that your children will sing it to their children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to share words with us?
I
won't ask you to sing it unless you really want to.
It's so funny because I think, could I sing it out loud? Whew, that would be brave. Because there's a whole story I have about that too, that I can't sing. I'm just checking to see if I can find that inside of me. I'm going to try. Whew, that's hard. Okay. Good night. Good night. My angel, close your eyes. Good night. Good night. My angel, go to sleep. Your heart will know the path that you must go. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. My angel, close your eyes. Good night. Good night. My angel, go to sleep and dream those dreams that only you can make come true. Good night. Good night. Good night.
I am so proud of you.
Thanks, baby.
And it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So tell us about worthiness around being able to do that. Whew.
Well, there was a lot of conversation going on inside.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, what I was aware of was just how tight my throat was, and really just trying to keep it open. I wanted to sing it like I sang to the kids too. Like there's a part of me that's like, well, if you're going to sing it, it needs to be powerful. And I'm like, but that's not how I sing it to the kids, right?
Sure.
So working through not judging, myself. Knowing how much I love my children. And how I will never stop the journey of being a healthier person because of you and because of them. That it's worth risking, even when it's scary. What?
Just real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for being brave and worthy.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Just that I think it sets a really good example of how, of a lot of different things we could teach, but since worthiness is the topic, you have to find a sense of worthiness to be able to do that in this forum, especially. And I know just from knowing you how far you've come in that, to be able to share that with the people who are watching us. It's really amazing. And it's a lovely message to give your children, just this gift of being loved, being wished well, letting them know that they'll find their way, that their heart will know where to go. It's just great. Awesome sauce.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What are you thinking?
That they'll all find their way.
Yeah.
Believing in them, loving them, continuing to hold space for them forever.
So how do we find that when we didn't grow up with parents who gave it to us or believed in us or modeled that for us, or had no way to find their way themselves?
Yeah, right. Right. It's an interesting question, I think. I mean, what comes to mind first is, oh my gosh. Surrounding ourselves with people who don't always tell us what we want to hear, so that we can have an opportunity to grow. I mean, if we just have people that surround us that agree with us all the time or don't challenge us or avoid us, it's harder. And I'm not talking about abusive, stuff. I'm just, there's a knowing that we have, whether we know that we do or not. I think about it in like terms of like congruence, like, someone can tell us the truth and we may not like it and it may make us angry or whatever, but there's a part of us that's like, right? It doesn't mean that it's at a full level of consciousness that we can grab a hold of it and look at it. But if we truly can recognize that we all have the path of learning healthier relationship with ourselves and others, like that's part of life, I think that would be helpful. Because I think, because we don't have a lot of good examples, that we just reinforce shame in ourselves about all the things we don't know, or, what we should have known or supposed to have known or whatever. So I think we do a really good job reinforcing shame, which doesn't help. And so can we change that story? And I know I talk about it in other things about, if we could just view life as an experiment and it's just practice, 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 that would be helpful. And then seeking resources that we're unfamiliar with, whether that's books, audiobooks, podcasts.
Sure.
I think there's a lot of resources out there. I think reminding ourselves that no one person has the answers for us.
Right.
That we're too unique of individuals for one person to really, provide all that. I have some clients that are, long-term that I've seen on and off throughout the years. But I'm always offering them other resources. And I'm never going to stop growing. And so I think about, like someone who, for sure 20 years ago, that's a lot to think back on where I was when I started seeing clients. But 15 years ago, it's like, man, I am not the same therapist at all. Everything that I've stepped into and explored. And I'm always encouraging that with my clients. Yeah, read that book, try that class, go on that retreat, do something you wouldn't normally think that you would do or could do, find your edge. Just keep exploring. And I think just by exploring, we find more of our worthiness. Because our world's bigger when we explore.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Experiencing different people and just having different experiences, period. Finding our edge, finding our competency. What am I really capable of doing? Because I don't think most of us have a clue what we're capable of doing. And so I think it's easy to sit in unworthiness because we have no idea. But we don't think it's very much. I had a client that I was working with today who we were talking about that, really like following your dream. And I was on social media earlier, and this picture came up. And it said, "Don't think you deserve the job? Apply for it anyway. Don't think your article is good enough? Publish it anyway. Don't think they'll reply to your email? Send it anyway. Don't self-reject." And so anyway, I sent that to them. And
Nice.
they were like, "Well, that seems really applicable today."
Well, and when they say, well, you talk a lot, you can show them this episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think worthiness it's just a lifelong part of the journey, I believe. But I think it has to be an active part. I don't think worthiness just appears. I mean, does that make sense? I mean, I think, people can appear to feel worthy, but I think often that's performative. It's not really, congruent with how they see themselves. It's just maybe they were taught to walk in the world that way, but that doesn't mean that they actually feel worthy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can practice it, fake it till you make it.
Mm.
But I also think what you're saying, it makes sense to me that the breadth of experience of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pushing your boundaries, finding your edges. I think what you're saying, and tell me if I'm not getting it, but I think what you're saying is that it's kind of like what they say about happiness. If you chase happiness, it won't come. But if you sit and wait for happiness, it'll come rest on your shoulder like a butterfly, right? But this requires some more effort than that. But I think that it is like the affirmations, I think, are a direct line to worthiness. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. The other part is this expansive, practice of life that can, like, organically, worthiness grows out of all those things.
It can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it can, right?
Well, right.
And if you're putting the intention behind it too, with the affirmations or beautiful, lullabies or songs, that all of that can come together to start, helping that grow and help you stay in that space. Yeah, you also mentioned earlier, we were talking about it, was mirror exercises. Well, I want to throw out some other tools. What are mirror exercises?
Yeah, so I think we talked about this on another episode. There was a woman that did it with us. I had a retreat like 7 years ago. Yeah. And she had us, or asked us, to come back to her room, and she had us look in the mirror in our eyes compassionately and gently and say, "I love you." And I remember doing it and just crying, crying. And I suggested it to someone today. Their affirmations were, I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm not asking too much. Because what I hear underneath their language when they're talking are those beliefs that they did do something wrong and they are asking too much, which are very common negative cognitions that we carry over from childhood. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I don't deserve. I mean, there's a lot. And so for me, we talked about you're not just checking the box when you do this. You're going in, getting soft, gazing at yourself in the mirror, and just allowing the emotion to come that comes with it. So,
Yeah.
what are you thinking?
That is hard. And it's shocking if you're serious when you do, if you're really seeing what this is about. It's like, whoa, I can't believe that was that powerful of an experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
They're powerful. I think about that. Our body needs to hear us say it.
Yeah.
I think it's a different level of integration that can happen when we look at ourselves and say those words.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you thinking?
Well, I was thinking, I think it was Mel Robbins, the high five in the mirror is where that came from. But, just, you can't help but smile when you give yourself the high five in your mirror. And it's another way of saying, you got this. And it's powerful stuff. And the rest is too. It's just really, I don't know. I like the conversation because it's kind of a holistic approach to how do we get there?
Yeah.
And there's so many things that you can do to start building it, making it grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Whew, so many things that we can do. Taking a class. They have those community classes you can take for $30, on all different types of topics. Learning just more about different things. Taking a pottery class.
Sure. That's immediately what I was thinking. It's like, hey, I can do something. Look at this.
Yeah.
Makes it grow.
Yeah.
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 Painting classes.
Yeah. One of the, all the boys did Boy Scouts. And, they all went through their own period of hating it. Some more than others. And it was the only thing that what I would call my silver bullet, like the only thing I'm going to require you to do. And it wasn't alone. I was involved. I mean, I did high adventures. I did summer camp. I did winter overnights. I did I did all the things. And, but what I would tell them was that as a parent, I cannot expose you to all the different people and all the different opportunities that you will get exposed to in Boy Scouts. There was just so many things I got to try over the years to learn. I mean, gosh, you think about Cameron, in the trap shooting, and they go out and do that. I don't remember how old he was the first time he did it, but it was high school. So, maybe 15 or 16. And he hits 22 out of 25 clays the very first time. He had no idea.
Sure.
None that he could shoot like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Builds confidence. Promotes worthiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so for me, it's not something I would have ever have taken him to do. It wasn't something I had ever done until later. But even if he hadn't been so skilled at it, he would have learned something about himself in the experience.
Sure.
Maybe that he liked shooting. Maybe that he didn't. Maybe he appreciated the function of a gun. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he learned something about craftsmanship or safety or responsibility.
Being a teacher.
Right.
Being a student. I can learn this.
Right.
Yeah.
All those things. Right? It's not just about the thing.
Right.
It's all that comes with the thing that we choose to step into. It's all an opportunity for us to learn about ourselves. If we can choose to see it that way. If we can release the need to be perfect. To do it perfectly. I mean, it is crazy the standards we can hold ourselves to the first time we do something.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm smiling really big as we have the conversation because it just is like it's the triumph of the human spirit. Really, is what we're talking about. Get out there and live.
Yeah.
Find out so much, and worthiness is coming.
Yeah.
Whew. I like it.
Yeah.
It gives me hope, right? And I mean, I've come a long way down that road, but it's still it's hope for everyone.
Yes.
And fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, babe. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for joining us today. We are excited to explore life with you. We encourage curiosity, self-growth, and we strive to be more compassionate every day.